is it for Cam and Nate?
Cam, so with Nate, just some soreness from his ankle, and then Cam, some soreness with his knee.
Matthew Stafford's off to statistically a great start, leading the passing yards. Has there been anything different this year for you that you've seen from him?
I think he's playing really well, Gary. I would tell you, I don't care about stats. I care about the efficiency, snap in and snap out. We want to be able to move the ball, score points, and I think he's done an excellent job of putting us in good positions. I think he's recognizing coverage, reading with his feet. I think he's throwing the ball with accuracy and anticipation, and he's playing the way that we believe he's capable of. And he'll be the first to tell you that he's his biggest critic, which is also what makes him great. But been really pleased with him. Feel really fortunate to have him leading the way, and we got a great opportunity this week, and looking forward to attacking the prep the right way.
The offense has shifted back to a lot of play action under center looks the last 2 years. What do you feel like have been the benefits of that approach?
Are you talking offenses in general around the league?
No, yours.
Go ahead, ask your question again.
Just what do you think have been the benefits of that approach?
Well, I just think, when you can try to be able to create that a little bit of hesitation, the more that you can make the defense, when so much of what their rules, roles, and responsibilities are reactionary, especially in a lot of those down and distances that you're talking about where some of the play actions can be activated, it can cause a little bit of hesitation, and that's kind of some of the things where we just talk about being able to marry looks together. And so that's kind of been the gist of it. I don't know exactly what the numbers are in terms of some of the analytics, but we're always going to do what we think is best relative to different situations.
As you've dug into the kicking game, some of the missed kicks or block kicks, how do you prevent that from compounding as the season goes on?
Well, I think it already has compounded. I think for us, I think it's about doing the next right thing. And the first thing is are we giving clarity as coaches to techniques, fundamentals, the timing, the trajectory of the kick, the protection, the snap. There's a lot of layers to it. If it was one thing, I think it'd be a little bit easier. There's been a couple different things, and we have an idea of what we think we need to be able to improve without putting too much out there publicly. And I don't mean to not answer your question, but it's all hands on deck. And to answer your question, it starts with clarity from us, techniques, fundamentals, what's required, getting the right guys on there, and then everybody doing their 1/11th. And until we get that fixed, there's going to be a continued emphasis of, if I was on the opposing team, I would be attacking that phase of our kicking game. That's what's been reflected. And if you don't get things fixed in this league, the bleeding won't stop, but we expect to stop that bleeding.
It's 1 of 11, and it's not just all on Josh. But last year, he's gone through the ups and downs of this. How did you see him mentally go through that? And then now, how do you see
I think
him
when you've
approach
gone
this?
through experiences where you've come out on the right end and you've really grown through some of the challenging moments, I think that can be used as a confidence that have been here before. I can respond again. I think it's first and foremost starts with mental toughness and resilience, and then a security within yourself to acknowledge where can I improve to ultimately help the collective, which that's what football is. It's the greatest team sport that there is. I think he's accountable. I think he understands what his role is within the framework of what we're looking for, and that's the kind of guys that we want on our football team.
You aren't the only team that's dealt with the blocked kicks. They've happened quite a bit this year. Do you feel like are teams trying to block these differently, or are there effects from the kickoff changing, or why do you think it's up across the league?
It's a good question, Nate. I think that once you start to see some successful outcomes, well, then people try to be able to replicate it. And there's been a couple different issues or reasons for it, but I think these rush units are doing an excellent job of being able to identify where are some of those holes and weaknesses. And so I think that's such a big picture thing that you've seen more of it. I think you're seeing teams rush a little bit harder, and like you've seen, when you see that can be something that you can attack, man, it feels like, all right, hey, here we go, and we better be able to get it fixed. Otherwise, that's going to be something that people keep leaning into. But we try to have a big picture perspective on the landscape of the league, and it has seemed like there's more of an uptick. What are the reasons for it? I can't say other than the specific areas that you give credit to some of the field goal block units, some of the specific personnel, the different matchups, and the timing at which they're able to attack, whether that's internally or off the edges.
It seems like Puka has been, involved in every play, whether he's getting the ball or not. Has that been kind of like a conscious effort for him to, impact, snap in and snap out?
I think, when we try to get a bunch of different people involved, I think what was good about the game the other day, I think the ball got spread around. He is obviously a big focal point of our offense, and it's not exclusive to when the ball's in his hands, but when he can do some really unique things as a receiver, when he can contribute in the run game, and then you can also give him touches through the run game, that is a valuable thing. But we want to be able to get all of our eligibles involved. I think that's when we're at our best. I think that's when you're the most difficult to be able to defend. But he's done a phenomenal job. Obviously, he's gotten a bunch of recognition for the production he's had. We want to continue to see that, sustain and continue to improve throughout. But I love what he's been about.
What is the process? What is the process like in practice this week as you try to figure out who can fill in for Umar?
We'll probably give, you'll see Troy and Dolak be able to kind of split up those reps.
Coach, looking back at the 49ers game and just looking at the outcome, how do you feel your team has kind of is going to respond moving forward into the next game?
I think it's about doing the next right thing. I love the resilience. I love the mindset of this group. I think we have to be honest with ourselves in terms of the totality of the 5 games. Where can we improve? Where are the things that we're doing at a really high clip? Unfortunately, we didn't finish that the other day, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't some positive takeaways. But you lean into the things that you say, hey, let's not run away from some of the things that we all can do a little bit better and hopefully contribute to the collective outcome that we're hunting up. And and what I've seen from these guys coming back on Monday, the mindset and mentality today, I love where we're at, and we got a great opportunity to be able to go attack the Ravens this week.
When you think back to Liam Cohen here as OC, what did you see for him in his growth throughout that year that maybe has helped him become the coach he is now?
I think Liam's a great leader. He's a great communicator. He sees the game through a big picture lens. I thought he got some really valuable experience. When he went to Kentucky, did an excellent job of leading their offense, being able to put his identity on it. Then he comes here, and he and I talk about it all the time. That was a challenging year for us, but man, there was a lot of growth that occurred. In the midst of a uniquely challenging year, I think there was a lot of growth for us personally, professionally. I think he's used that, to be able to use some of those scars, if you will, to be stronger. And I think you look at the way that his team's played through 5 weeks. It's fun to be able to watch them. I'm happy for them, except for when we see them in a few weeks.
Just to follow up quick, how would you describe his energy as a coach?
I think it's authentic. I think he's passionate. I think he's got that, you could see that quarterback background. He's fiery, but he also knows when to be able to stay steady, and I think he picks and chooses his spots accordingly. But I think the most important thing is authenticity, and that's exactly what he's been. Okay, thanks guys.